Hello, my stamping friends. Patty Edwards here with Why Stamp with Patty. And today I'm going to continue my Christmas in July series and make one of the alternative cards that I showed on Sunday just as an option. This is the card, and I just love using gold and white and green, or gold and white and red for Christmas. I'm kind of one of those traditional colors for Christmas. Um, and we're going to use this festive cheer stamp set and bundle. You can see it has all these cute little ornaments, and it has a coordinating die set that goes with it. Lots of little pieces, which sometimes I'm a little leery about getting those things, but I'm going to kind of show you how you can assemble these little pieces really easily. So let's set the card aside for a minute, and I'm going to show you what I used on this card. The Peaceful Pine color that's on there is our pretty in color pearlized specialty paper. See that glimmer that it has? And it comes in all 5 of our new in color colors. So that is very pretty. And then of course I'm going to use some gold foil paper for my little accents, and then I'm using some basic white. So I'm going to start with a card base that is going to open from the bottom upward. So instead of cutting it in half to make a 5.5 by 8.5, this one is going to be 11 inches by 4 1/4. And then it'll be scored at 5.5. The next layer we're going to put on here is our gold foil. And I kind of wanted a bigger border around the edge. So I cut this 5 by 3 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and attach that to our card base. We'll get the bones of our card done first, and then we'll do the little details. So I'm just going to center this. So as I'm looking, I'm just kind of checking that I have equal borders all the way around, and then press it down. If you ever pressed it down and you thought it was even when I checked it, but now it looks a little crooked. That's what I like about the green glue, is that you can kind of adjust it. You have a little bit of time. Now the next piece is just some of our regular basic white cardstock, and this is going to be an embossed panel. And I'm going to use a new embossing folder that just came out in July 1st, and it's called Swirls of Magic. And it really is magical. It actually is in a Halloween suite, but I have been using it for Christmas cards lately. And this piece, I just want 1/8 of an inch border around that. So I cut this piece down to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So that's what it looks like after it goes through with the embossing folder. Isn't that gorgeous? And we can go ahead and add that to our gold panel. Now, sometimes when I use a large piece of gold, I might cut out the middle, or if I'm doing some die cutting, I might cut that out first. It all depends. The thing when you're cutting out from the foil paper, you want to make sure that you have newer plates, because if the plates that you're using to cut out have a lot of creases in them from well-used die cutting, it can kind of make a pattern on your gold. So I'm just gonna today cover that up. So that's the outside of our card. Now we're ready to do some of our other pieces. I have another piece of gold foil, and another piece of this Pearlized specialty paper. And the gold piece measures 1 5/8 by 3.5. And this is just going to go on top of that. And it measures 1 3/8 by 2 3/4. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this and adhere that to our gold piece. And this is going to go on our card, but I'm going to wait. Ooh, I got a little crazy with my glue. And now it's sliding around. Oh boy. That's the one thing about green glue. You got to be careful that it doesn't ooze out, especially when you're putting it on the gold, because it does kind of leave a film. But I think I got that wiped off there pretty good before it started to dry. All right, so that's a panel we're going to set aside, because now we're ready to do some stamping and die cutting, and we're going to do heat emboss today. So I have this little tiny scrap of basic white I just pulled out of my scrap drawer, and I'm going to use this ornament from our Festive cheer set. And you'll notice that each ornament has 2 stamps that coordinate together. We call this a 2-step stamp. So you can use the outline stamp by itself, or you can ink up the 2-step stamp and stamp it, and then it adds color. So this one would add color inside there. But today I just want the outline, and we're going to do heat embossing, which is very magical. Everybody loves heat embossing. It just makes your card look so gorgeous. And in order to do that, we need our Versamark pad. This is a pigmented pad, or kind of a really sticky pad. And I'm also going to use our embossing little tray that comes with this little paintbrush, little pillow, and then a reverse forceps, which is really nice for heat embossing, especially when you're doing a little piece like this and you don't want to burn your fingers. And this little pillow is very necessary, because we're going to rub that on our cardstock first. And what that's going to do is help with the static, and also if we have any of our oils from our fingers on there, it's going to help keep the powder from, you know, connecting to that oil, because sometimes you can get those little pieces. You're shaking off your powder, and then you have all these little speckles of whatever color you're using on the cardstock, and sometimes that is caused by oils from your fingers getting on there. Now we're ready to add our gold embossing powder, and this powder is called Wow, and it, you know, of course, metallic. It comes in a set that has gold, silver, and copper. Now I can pour the excess back in there, but I also have this tray that's going to catch any stray powder, and then I can put it back in to my jar, because it has this nice little twist off lid, and then I can just put that all right back in there so we don't waste any. And like I said, this comes in a 3-pack with silver, copper, and gold. And then there's one other 3-pack that you can get, and that has black, white, and clear. All right, our next step would be to start up our heating tool. So this is the embossing gun. It has 2 settings. We want it on the highest setting because we want to melt that powder into the ink. And I'm going to use my little forceps to hold on to this, because like I said, it gets really hot. Now it has a cooler setting. It's not cool, it's still warm, but that is useful like when you're trying to dry something, like maybe you're doing watercolor and your paper, to do the next step, you need it to be dry, so that can kind of help that along. So see how that just is magical. It raises it up and just gives you that shine. So pretty. All right, that is one piece. And then we're going to need the little accessories that go along with this ornament. So as we're looking at our little pieces here, we have this piece, and I've already cut out, this cuts out the little strings for our ornament. And so when you place this on here, it's going to cut out 5 strings. And then you have a choice of some toppers. This ornament's a little bigger, so I'm going to use the wider ones. You can see these are a little bit narrower than these. And I want this little bow. I want a gold bow. So we're going to run that through with just a little scrap. And when we run that through, then we get our little ornament. And what I did was I took one of those strings out of here and I just attached it to a glue dot right away. And I also attached my ornament to a glue dot. Now, I think I'm going to bring in my little baby because I do want you to see kind of how I do these little toppers and the bows, because they're little pieces and sometimes people can be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with all those little tiny pieces. So let's just go ahead and put the bow, so I've already cut out the strings, but we're going to put the little toppers and our bow onto the plate, and we'll put this plate on top. And then we're just going to run that through. And so now turn this over, and sometimes the little pieces will stay in the die and sometimes they won't, which we can maneuver those either way. I'm going to show you how to get control of all those little pieces. So our favorite little tool, or at least it's my favorite little tool, I'm just gonna get rid of these plates, is my pick tool. It's so helpful. And we're gonna use some mini glue dots. So you can do this a couple different ways. So you know some of them fell out and there's one that's still stuck in the die. So that one I'll show you first what I do. I'm going to poke out that centerpiece, and then I'm going to take a glue dot and just kind of pick it up with my pick tool, and I'm just going to kind of put that on there sideways and pick this up, and then I'm going to put it right back on there so I keep track of it. Now the pieces that like these stayed in here, so you can do the same thing. If they fell out and they were like, let's take one and just put it face up. Oh, face up. I can take my sticky end of my pick tool, pick this up, and then I want to place this just so the glue dot is on this little rectangle part of it. You'll notice some of it's hanging off, and that's okay, because what we're going to do is just take our pick tool and fold that over and then place it right back on there. We're going to do the same thing with our bow. We're going to get another glue dot, and I could just kind of take my finger and kind of wad that up a little bit. And then we're gonna see if we can pull that out. And to keep track of it, we're just gonna put it right back on that little sheet. And then I can cut this apart and set it aside so I have those little pieces when I need them. And that way you're gonna have a little bit better luck than trying to put glue or trying to maneuver those all those little pieces. It just makes it a little easier. And like this piece, like I said, it has 5 little strings, so I just popped one out like this, and I adhered it to a glue dot, and then I took the ornament and just put that on a glue dot. So now we can just keep this on this little paper because it helps control everything. And we're going to pick up our ornament topper and place that where we want it on our ornament. Get that on there nice and straight. And get our little string on there. Let's take a little look-see, and that looks pretty good. And now we can take our pick tool again and just pick that up. I'm going to bring in this little piece that we mounted on our gold foil, and I'm going to put this on here, but I want to pop up my ornament. So I'm going to take a couple dimensionals and add those to my ornament. Look, I even have another pick tool because I use this so much for all kinds of different things. Okay, now we're going to take this, I'm going to set these aside, bring this back in, and we'll get this kind of positioned where I want it. We'll center our ornament, put that down first. And then we can take our string and decide so it looks centered and straight. I'm just going to fold that over, and then we can, add another glue dot, or what's really easy is we can just take some of our tear and tape, just a little piece of our tear and tape, which is a double-sided tape. And the nice thing is you can tear it off. You don't even need a scissors. And we're just going to tack that down. Just like that. And then we have our ornament. And now we're ready to put our little bow on there. So again, we're just picking it up with our pick tool instead of trying to handle that with our fingers, and it just makes it so much easier. And then we have our little focal point ready to go, and we can put that onto our card base. So let's bring that back in. And I am going to add dimensionals to this piece. It's on, an uneven surface. If you use glue, it will stick, but I just think it lays nicer, and you can keep that attached. We'll take our backings off. And then I'm going to place this about a ½ inch of white on the left side, and then I'm going to line up the gold even and put that right there. Okay, now we're ready for our Noel. And how I did that was, again, I took another piece of this Pearlized specialty paper in the Peaceful Pine, and I used some of our foam adhesive sheets. These are awesome for when you want to pop something up. And as you can see, this die can cut out each individual letter for the Noel. And they're very tiny, very skinny. So it would be kind of hard to, put any dimensionals or anything and get that to lay nice. This product helps you to get an even pop-up of very tiny things, or if you want it all over your die. So I cut a piece that's just a little bit smaller than my piece of specialty paper. The reason I want to have it just a little bit smaller is that I'm going to peel this off, and that's sticky. And when you run it through the machine, you don't want that sticky stuff, you know, on your edges, because then that's going to get on your plates and that can be kind of messy. So I'm going to lay this on my piece here, and then again we're going to run that through the cut and emboss machine. And I like to, just for good measure, run it through and then back it up and run it again, and you get the little Noel cut out, and then you're going to have the ability to peel off the back so that you have little letters that stick. All right, so we're going to start with the N, and now this particular die, like I said, these letters are very skinny, so kind of got to be a little careful when we're taking them out. But I'm going to go ahead and put my Noel on here. See how nice and easy that is? And just to have that popped up just gives it that little extra pop to your card. We got our O, and let's get our E out here. And then we're going to get our last letter here, the L, and place that. Ooh, I think I need that a little bit closer to the E. There we go. And maybe down a little bit before I press that down. Let's see here. There we go. That looks lovely. All right. There is a nice, elegant card, and I was able to show you a bunch of different little techniques. Now I will show you another option that I did. This time I did it in the hydrangea hue. Did the same thing with the letters. I put them on basic white this time, and so I kind of did the opposite. So where there's green, I now have white, and where I had white, I now have hydrangea hue. So the letters are white, but the background, look how pretty that is with that embossing folder. And then this time I used silver embossing powder, and I colored in the ornament. So I used stamping blends. I think I just used the lighter color and just did 2 of the little stripes. And then to get that darker color, I took our new shimmer brush in the hydrangea hue, and this, you know, has a nice little tip that allows you to paint that color on there. And the nice thing about it is it has, I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera real well, but it has a little sheen to it, like little glitter. You can maybe see it in the pen. See how there's that little sparkle in there? So that just gives it another little holiday sparkle. And then these little stars, I used some embellishments that came out last year. And where did those little embellishments go? I don't know. Here we go. They're in my tray. So these are called Wonderful Star Puffy stickers. And they come in black and white. There's larger ones and smaller ones. So I just took 3 of the smaller ones and popped them up on there. And that just kind of gave it another little embellishment to the card. So let me know what you think. I am gonna, be posting this. This is gonna be on Facebook, but it's also gonna be on my new um, YouTube channel. So I would appreciate it if you would check it out and follow me so that I can continue to share ideas with people. I love sharing ideas with other people. It is a passion of mine, and I'd appreciate it if you would like and follow. Thanks. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.